Hi everyone, my name is Mandy Roscoe, and today I'm going to be doing the Book Courtship Tag that's going around on YouTube lately. So, I wasn't tagged by anyone specifically. I'm pretty new to YouTube and no one really knows who I am, but I was watching Katie Tastic's video and she kind of tagged everyone. I thought it looked fun, so I figured I'd do it anyways. And there's a bunch of stuff here that I like and I wanted to get through and share with everybody, and so here we go. Oh yeah, by the way, before I forget, I don't exactly know who originally created this tag. Just the reader said it was Leah from Hill Loves Books. And like a lazy person, I did not verify that, so I'm hoping that's right. But other than that, here we go. Phase 1, Initial Attraction, a book you bought just because of the cover. This is kind of an easy one for me. I showed this off in a book haul recently. Actually, I have a bunch of these. Here it is. It is Dracula by Bram Stoker. It's this soft cover. I'd already read Dracula. I wasn't too sure about it, but I had to pick this up when I saw it because it's got several little quotes on there from the book itself. And I just love that. Just stake through the heart, good smoke evil. A dog began to howl somewhere in a farmhouse down the road. Yeah, I just had to have it. The only thing that would have made this thing even more perfect would be if it had one of those ribbon bookmarks inside of it, but it doesn't. Instead, it's got little bats on the edge of each page. Yeah. So this is definitely one that I bought just for the cover. Some of these are going to be doubles that I'm going to show on the rest of this video, but bear with me here. My True Love Gave to Me. Here we go. I bought this on eBay, actually. This is the UK edition. The American version has a skating rink with all the couples from the book skating around on it. And again, this was something that I was made aware of because of Katie Tastic's channel. I think it was her channel. She was pointing out that she had both versions, and she showed the differences in them, and I saw this one and I liked this one the best. And I needed some Christmas stories to read because I'm going to be in an anthology soon. Unfortunately for me, I didn't get the chance to really read any of these, so I had to do my Christmas story without getting the inspiration I wanted, but I'll wait till this Christmas to read these, and then it'll be more fun. And this also comes with a ribbon bookmark in it, so it makes it even more perfect. And the other one I got, partly because of the cover, I should say, is Will Grayson, the softcover version. Just because of how it looks, like the top version and the bottom version. Each kind of shows the different personalities of each Will Grayson. I cannot remember what NMH stands for. Something Milk Hospital, like? Yeah, whatever. And the other Will Grayson is dating a boy named Isaac in the beginning of the book. And he's on antidepressants, but we'll get into that later. That is my first phase. These are the books that I bought mostly because of the covers. There's probably some others that I'm forgetting down here, but yeah, these are them for now. Phase 2, First Impressions, a book you bought just because of the summary. I buy a lot of books based off of the summary, so this is actually going to be hard for me to narrow down like that, but I'll give it a try. I put some down here. Where are they? This is a good one. Every Day by David Levithan. This was definitely one of those books that was a summary book. Like, I had to read the summary in order to figure out what was going on. It might not even been the summary that got me. It might have just been the tagline, every day a different body, every day a different life, every day in love with the same girl. So it's about you don't even know if it's a boy or a girl, who just every morning wakes up inside of a different body, and the original host is never aware that this has happened except for this one time, which kind of helps get the story moving along and creates a lot of conflict afterwards. At first, you see him in the body of a boy, and so it's just easy for me to say him. And he meets a girl called Rhiannon, and he just has to see her again. And it's hard for them to be dating each other because he's constantly in different bodies every day. He has no control over it. So it kind of is terrible, and it's really sad hearing about his early life. Because when you're a baby or you're a toddler, you think that this is just the way things are. But when he's getting old enough to realize that the people around him are talking about, going on vacations, or they'll do this next weekend, and he's telling them, we're not doing that next weekend, you're not going to be here. And they're like, yeah, we are. And it gets to the point where every night he's crying because he doesn't want to leave these nice families, he doesn't want to go, he doesn't want to be kicked out. And they don't know what's happening. Their son or their daughter is just throwing a fit. It's very, very heartbreaking. And I have I don't know if it's the sequel or if it's a prequel or if it's a companion, but the next one of this I have pre-ordered. And I thought it would be out by now. I'm going to have to check on that. Maybe it got pushed back, or maybe my order just didn't come in and I didn't realize it. Next phase. Phase 3, Sweet Talk, a book with great writing. That's a tough one. Like, a lot of them have great writing. I'd have to say that one of them that did have great writing was definitely, you know, let me just pick this back up here. Again, David Levithan's Every Day, but I don't want to just only use that because I already used that there, so I have to pick out something different. And one of them would definitely be, actually two of them. Let's see, here they are. Red Rising and Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. I'd say that these are definitely good. They're very well written books, and it just really pulled me in. I don't know if it was the story or the writing or just all of it, but these, I definitely put them on there. And these are also going to be books that I'm going to be using in another part of this tag. Oh, it's so hard to just describe that, like a book with great writing. It's so many of them, so it's hard to decide. I mean, a lot of books that I decide to keep, I keep because I think they have great writing. I mean, Fangirl, I thought that one had great writing, so maybe I'll just even add that to it. Special edition version. I already have the original one, but I had to get this one too. So that's definitely on this tag. Okay, next. Phase 4, First Date. A first book in a series that made you want to pick up and read the rest of the books in the series. This one, I have to use Red Rising and Golden Sun by Pierce Brown again, just because I already showed them off. I gotta do it again. Here you go. Red Rising was one that I'd been looking at for a couple of weeks, I think, in the bookstore. I'd see it on the shelf, and it looked like a teen book. And as much as I love those, I just wasn't in the mood for a teen book at the time. But then I kept hearing great things about it from other booktubers, mainly Katie Tastic, because again, she's mainly who I watch. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna read it as she's reading it. And the second I was done this, I can't remember if I picked this up immediately after or if I finished a manga, whatever book after the fact, but I needed to read the sequel. Not too badly, but I still needed to read it. And now, after I've read this one, I need the third book. And it bugs me because I don't like waiting for them. It's one of those double-edged swords. I like knowing that all the books are out so I can just plow through them if they're out there. But then, if they're all out there and the series looks too big, it can look very intimidating. But this is one of those ones where, had the third one been out at the time, I would have picked it up and I would have read it. But now I have to wait, but this is definitely on there. I suppose another one would be Harry Potter, but that one required waiting because I was reading them as they were coming out. I was 12 or so when the first one came out. Where is it? Here it is. But yeah, that's another series that I had to finish. Again, had to wait for it. Another series that I had to just go through after I read the first one would be this one. This one should be pretty obvious. I read these when I was working in a bookstore, and you get special privileges when you work in a bookstore. So I was able to just kind of grab them off the shelf, provided I didn't, get my grubby fingerprints on them and destroy them, and just read them one after the other. And that is the Hunger Games series. I have all these in hardcover. Yeah. I should have the box set though, but whatever. These are pretty good condition when I found these. This is one, this is one series, the Hunger Games series, Harry Potter, and now Golden Sun and Red Rising, because when the third one of that comes out, I'm gonna be all over it. What else do we got? Phase 5, Late Night Phone Calls, a book that kept you up all night. That's another hard one because I tend to read at night when I'm in bed, and when I should be asleep. A couple of books that I'd say had kept me up later than they should have been. One was, and I don't have it now because I read it years ago, A Knight in Shining Armor by Jude Devereux? I don't know how to pronounce her name, but it was one of those things where I had school the next morning. It was like 4 in the morning, but I had to read more. It was a romance novel about a time traveler. It was great. If I could find the cover, I'll put it up somewhere. Another one that I just kind of plowed through in very little time, stayed up a little while, was, again, Every Day by David Levithan. This was one of those few books that I managed to finish in 1 or 2 days, and just kind of plowed through the last 150 or 200 pages in the last day. Had to do that. I think that's about it. It's just too hard for me to figure out which one of those would be because I tend to stay up late anyways. I go to bed at 2 or 3 in the morning and I have to read a little bit to put myself to sleep. I can't just fall asleep. I have to do something. So I would save those ones for now. And maybe if I think of something else, I'll add it in later. Phase 6, Always on My Mind, a book you could not stop thinking about. A book you could not stop thinking about. That's a tough one. I would have to say, again, the Harry Potter series, and it's not even just the series itself. As I was waiting for those books to come out, waiting 2 years between releases sometimes, I had to go to fanfiction sites just to kind of get my fix. And I was always wondering what was going to happen with who, and then there was the question of who was going to die in this book because the news outlets were always talking about J.K. Rowling announces another death and you have to know who it is. And then, let's see, another one that I was thinking about for a while but not to the extent of the Harry Potter series, was again, I'd have to say, the end of Golden Sun. That one got to me for a little while, and it was on my mind for a while. I couldn't stop thinking about it, and now actually another one that will be on my mind for a little while and I know about will be Armada by Ernest Cline. I just finished this one today. By the end of it, I felt kind of stunned, as if somebody had just punched me in the head, and I just didn't see it coming. The ending of this made me kind of sad and depressed, so I'm going to be thinking about this one for a little bit. I can already tell that. Alright, next up, Phase 7, Getting Physical. I'm just going to read off here because I can't even memorize this. A book which you love the way it feels. Okay, so going back to the pile that I already made around me, I'd have to say that that would be Will Grayson, Will Grayson. And I saw the hardcover for this, but I don't know if it has this. It just kind of looked plain. But if you touch it and feel it right here, it feels rougher in the middle, as if it's duct tape that's holding this notebook together, because you can see that it's meant to look like, let me just see if I can, yeah, like kind of the spirals on a notebook. On the back, it's the same thing. You got more duct tape there, and you can just feel it. I love that feeling. The spine feels kind of normal, but yeah, just this, I just love the way that it feels. Lately, started preferring hardcovers over paperbacks. I think that's just because I've been watching too many YouTubers, and I'm seeing all their shelves, and I'm noticing how nice they are, and how pristine, and how everything looks when it's in proper order. This is one of the few paperbacks that I've seen and touched that I don't think I want the hardcover of this. I want to keep this one. This one, I just love the way it feels. Love the book too. Alright, next! Phase 8, Meeting the Parents, a book which you would recommend to your friends and or family. This one would be pretty easy because there's not too many people I recommend books to. There's only my brother, I'd say. He is the only one who I've really recommended and given books to, aside from my sister-in-law. But it wasn't really book recommendations between us. It was just she'd ask me if I'd had something. I said yes, and she'd want to read it, so I'd hand it over. But for my older brother, after I'd read Ready Player One, or I should say after I'd listened to the audiobook, I actually went on Audible and I gifted him a copy of it because I needed him to listen to it too, just so that I could have somebody to talk with about it. So Ready Player One by Ernest Cline was definitely one that I was willing to, you know, kind of harass my older brother until he finally got around to listening to it. And now we like to talk about it. Then I got him Armada by Ernest Cline so we could talk about that one. He should be finished, so I get to talk to him about that probably tomorrow or on Monday. Anyways, next. Phase 9, Thinking About the Future, a book or a series of books you know that you will reread many times in the future. That's another tricky one for me because I don't reread books usually. I think I've done that once or twice. That might have been for Sense and Sensibility. I think Pride and Prejudice. I was trying to read through some of the classics. It's hard to understand them. Like, even after seeing the movie, I just couldn't really follow the writing that great. So I read Sense and Sensibility twice, I know that. As for books that I will flip through again anytime if I happen to have them, that would be pretty easy for me. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline is one that I would definitely do that too. Another one would be the Harry Potter series. I'd flip through that plenty of times. There's lots of good stuff to be had in there. I've flipped through Fangirl quite a few times already, just going through my favorite parts that I liked about this book. Let me just make sure it doesn't fall on me. As for books that I'll come back to and look into, it would definitely be those ones. Oh yeah. The Boy with the Painful Tattoo, I think I flipped through that by Josh Lanyon a little bit, because I just love the way he writes. But yeah, so books that I will flip through and just kind of read a couple of pages just to get a feeling for my favorite spots, or just to remember how it felt when I was reading those books, I will definitely do that, but I just don't reread books. I kind of just hoard them here because I just love the way they look and I like to keep them close by so I can, you know, remember that feeling that they gave me when I read them. That's always the fun part. I just have a hard time letting things go. I'm a total pack rat when it comes to my books. I don't really reread books, but keeping them to flip through them, to read a couple of pages, I definitely do those things. Next, Phase 10, Share the Love. Who do you tag in this video? Since I'm pretty sure there's only going to be about 4 people watching this video, just everybody. I don't really know any other YouTubers to tag them. I'm not part of their social circles, really. And I'm pretty sure that everybody's already done this tag anyways. Well, most everybody. Yeah, so I'm kind of late to the boat on this one, but if you happen to want to do a blog post or whatever, you certainly don't need my permission to do it. I think I'd like to add another phase to this, though, because it's supposed to be about the courtship tag. Well, I'm kind of a pessimist, so I kind of want to add, not the breakup tag, but the one part of the relationship that makes you feel kind of a downer. I'm gonna add like a phase 11, like your first fight. A book that you loved, but just kind of gutted you in the end, I'd say. Those, again, are already on my list. One of the books that I loved, but then just kind of gutted me at the end, was definitely Armada. The ending of this just made me so sad and depressed. Definitely made Ready Player One my favorite of the two Ernest Cline books. I kind of want to do a video on this, just to talk about it, just because I need to get it out of me somehow. But I don't even know if I want to do that, just because it's just so disheartening and sad. I'm not going to say anything because of spoilers, but as much as I loved the book going through it, and I loved all the references, like hearing him talk about Star Fox, a couple of the guys singing the Team America song was great. Even the references that I didn't get, because they're just beyond my time, or I never listened to those songs or saw those movies, apparently I love books like this. But it was the last couple of chapters that just really got to me. As much as I was in love with this book, it kind of just broke my heart, so it was one of those ones. Another set of books that kind of tore my heart right out would be Golden Sun, the second in the Red Rising trilogy. The ending of this book just totally got me. I couldn't stop thinking about it for days. There's a betrayal and a bunch of murders, and it's just so sad, and somebody goes away, and just, not the worst. It definitely makes me want to read the third one, but I just couldn't believe what had happened, right? So, gutted me, but in a good way, because it makes me want to keep reading. Whereas Armada it's a single book. Unless there's going to be a sequel to it, which I kind of hope there would be. There is room for a sequel. I'm sure Ernest Cline is perfectly capable of making a sequel out of this, but I just don't know what he would do at that point. Another set of books that didn't break my heart, but just sort of the love fizzled out. That should be my 12th phase. The Love That Fizzled Out, a series that you just couldn't finish. Maybe I'll finish this. I mean, there's only one book left in the series, but I kind of had to force my way through the third book in the series, but that would be this one here. The Maze Runner series by James Dashner. Really loved this book when I read it. I had to pick this book up after watching the movie trailer. Movie trailers make the best book trailers. It gets you really hyped up, and they're well acted, obviously, because they're professional actors. So this one had been on my to be read pile for a while. I just had to get it. I mean, once you have those visuals in your head of the runners being chased down and going through the maze, and you see that a couple things are going to be different, you just get extra excited for it. The Scorch Trials, I don't know what it was, but I just wasn't as in love with it as I was before. I think the movies are going to be different enough. I mean, it's already been kind of established that they will be different. Several things were different in the Maze Runner movie. So I'm hoping that I can get back into the Scorch Trials movie, that it can pull me in. But this one was a little bit harder for me to get through because I don't even really know why. I think it's just because there was no maze. They weren't rats running around in a lab test. It just seemed so wide open at that point. And you learned a little bit more about the world, and it was nothing wrong with the world building, but I just don't know about this one. And finally, the other one that I just kind of had to force my way through was The Death Cure. So yeah, my love for this series kind of fizzled out here, and I finished the book, but I kind of had to force myself to do it, and then the ending just seemed kind of like, really? Not that it's bad, it just seemed like that was a strange direction for it to take. And now I have the prequel, which is the Kill Order, and you'll notice that, of course I had to get the versions that do not match the original two. I guess I should take that off, staff pick. See, like, the title is there, is just so awesome, and these ones are just so plain. Same with this one, so I got the wrong versions for the last two. But anyways, The Kill Order by James Dashner is the one that I just have yet to read. I probably should. I mean, these are only 300-page books or so. Yeah. So it's not like it would be very hard for me to do it, but again, my love for this series just kind of fizzled out, and I don't know, like, I don't really have a desire to finish it. I know I should. It's only one book, but I just can't help it. I want to show you guys one more thing. Anyways, that is my book courtship tag video, and I hope you liked it. A small side note, I finally got a camera. Oh, I love this thing. It looks so awesome. Managed to pick it up off of Kijiji. Pretty decent price for it. I just need to get a lens for it. For now, can't use it. Probably have to wait another couple of videos before I can. Then have to play around with it a little bit, figure out how to work it. It's gonna be hilarious trying to learn how to use a camera. This is like a professional camera. Can't believe I own one of these. But yeah, so I got a tripod for this, gotta learn how to use it, gotta learn how to get it going, get a memory card for it, get a lens for it, because right now it's pretty inoperable. But yeah, so hopefully I can get videos in better quality after this and not have to use my computer to do it, because I know that those don't always turn out too right, and the lighting in here is pretty bad. I have to put up these lights everywhere, and even still you can see shadows all over the place. Once again, I don't mind that too much, because then it hides all my awesome acne and everything. Yay! I'm a grown adult and I still get that. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will try to have something up soon. Well, hopefully I'll have something up soon. Until then, I will see you next time. Bye! Hey Zoro! Come here! Come here, babies! Look! baby, look, look, look. Yeah, you're so pretty. What was that sound? What was that sound? You gonna leave me? Yeah, you don't care.